You're listening to a CNA podcast. Welcome to the Climate Conversations. I'm your host, Julie Yu. We know climate change is wreaking havoc on weather and food supplies, but would you believe it if I tell you that even your skin is not spared? Dermatologists worldwide are witnessing a surge in skin issues like dermatitis and acne, premature skin aging, and inflammatory conditions worsened by the changing climate. To talk with me about this is Kesh Gunasinghe, Head of R&D Asia Pacific at Kenvue. Kenvue is an American consumer health company, and Kesh is here to tell us how climate change is reshaping the skincare industry, from ingredient tweaks to innovative solutions and challenges the industry faces as a result of climate change. So Kesh, welcome to the Climate Conversations.
Thank you for having me. Really great to be here.
You know, our skin is hardly the first thing that we think of or we associate with when it comes to climate change, but you're here to give us a reason why we should link the two.
Yep.
So perhaps you can start with your background in skincare R&D.
So I'm the head of R&D for Kenvue in Asia Pacific, and I started my career many, many years ago now in Australia as a formulator for baby care products. And I've worked on developing skincare solutions for babies and adults for our brands across Asia Pacific and North America, and spent my entire career working in the baby and beauty care industries in the different fields of science. So everything from formulation to processing to how our products get to market through claims and communications.
So you're the perfect person to talk about skin and skin trends. You know, with all these wild weather swings and environmental stressors, just how exactly does climate change affect our precious skin?
I'm sure you and me and we either have experienced it ourselves or know someone that has been through an extreme weather event or have had their health be impacted by the extreme weather that we face every day. Consumers these days have a much stronger understanding of the impact of climate and their skin. Our skin is our largest organ. It is our first line of defense against the environment. You know, it is how we show up to the world is through our skin. And we're seeing the rise in things like allergy, skin sensitivity, sun exposure, an increased prevalence of skin cancer on the rise across the world, including in Asia Pacific. We also know our consumers are much more eco-conscious these days on the kinds of products that they choose. And in the past, it was always about performance. You know, I want the best performing products I can get. Now it's, I really want great performing products, but I also want them to be really great to use, have a really great experience, and be great for the environment as well.
So you're saying people are buying more, they're becoming more worried?
Yeah, they're becoming more conscious around their choices. And they know that the decisions that they make today have an impact on the skin. And as we live in this digital world, they also know that the impact of their purchasing decisions today, it's not just about today, it's about the future. And they want to make some choices that are helping that future as well, especially amongst the younger generations. We are definitely seeing that they are a lot more conscious about their choices and the choices that they make when it comes to the environment and the climate.
We've all heard that golden rule when it comes to skincare, that thou shalt wear sunscreen daily, regardless of the weather. I've been trying to stick to that
That's
as
right.
much as I could. What happens if I never do? Because there are tribes all over the world where people don't.
That's a great question. And yes, you should. You should wear sun protection every day. I grew up in Australia. From a very early age, we got taught one thing, which is slip, slop, slap. Slip on a shirt, slap on some sunscreen, and slap on a hat. And that's how we were taught because of the rise in skin cancer that we are seeing around the world. The World Health Organization just released a report that there is between 2 and 3 million skin cancer incidences every day. And yes, there are tribes around the world in places that may not use sunscreen every day, but they're probably not in the environments where we are in as well, where we are bombarded by the environment changing. So it's a combination of pollution and skin and the sun protection and sun damage as well. It's all kind of coming together. And that has a big impact on the skin because it's never about one factor, right? It's always about the intermingling of these things that can have an adverse effect on the skin as well.
Okay, so besides sunscreen, what other magic ingredients, shall I say, are packed into these products that protect our skin from climate change?
Any kind of product, sunscreens or any kind of other skincare products, we always look at the impact that it's going to have on the skin and its impact to the external aggressors, right? So yes, sunscreens are very important when it comes to developing a sunscreen product, so sun filters as we call them. But we want to combine those ingredients with other emollients and other skin protectants that are about improving our skin barrier. So our skin barrier is basically the outermost layers of our skin. And the skin barrier itself is the thing that prevents water escaping. So it keeps our skin moisturized and supple, but it also prevents external aggressors from getting into the skin. So we want to balance those sun filters that we use that will help prevent sun rays from penetrating our skin and impacting our skin. But we want to complement those with skin protectants, emollients, moisturizing ingredients that are going to continuously keep our skin barrier really well formed and protected at the same time. There's an interesting stat that I was reading the other day. 5 sunburns can double the chance of you getting skin cancer or getting a melanoma. You don't need to wear super high levels of sunscreen every day because you're not in that environment every day. You know, you're probably in an office or traveling between places, and that's where a lower level, an SPF 30, something that works well with the rest of your skincare regimen is an important one.
Yeah, obviously, people in a tropical climate like us in Australia or Singapore, and those living in temperate climate, let's say New York,
Yes.
or those braving the chilly Arctic winds in Iceland, for example. I mean, we face different set of climate-related challenges, right? Could we maybe talk about tailored solution that can be recommended to address these very specific needs? But how about humid climates? I mean, what would they need?
Great question, yes. Interestingly enough, I was in Shanghai and New York in the beginning of February, and it was so cold. It was like -5, -6. Well, it's probably not cold if you're living in that environment every day, but I live in Singapore, so being in -5 for like 3 weeks was very, very cold. And yeah, the skincare solutions that you need in those environments are very different. You need something that is much richer because your skin dries out much faster. That's where you do get that very sometimes flaky, itchy skin in those environments. So you need high levels of moisturization, high levels of emolliency. Moisturization has 2 parts. It has the part that is really around the moisture or water in your skin. And then there's the emolliency part, which is more around the oil that's in your skin. Oil in your skin is not bad. Excess oil on your skin can feel quite bad, which we know living in Singapore, that you feel really sweaty and oily. But when it comes to very dry skin, you have to ensure that you're getting those natural moisturizing factors, which are emollients as well as, hydrating ingredients into your skin and then keeping them there through providing a really strong barrier on top. Whereas in places like Singapore, where it is much more humid, you don't want to wear those kind of products. They're too heavy. They'll feel terrible. And your skin doesn't need them. Your skin needs solutions that are probably much more hydrating, much lighter, and we use different kinds of ingredients. So maybe not high on the emollients, but maybe high on humectants. So humectants are ingredients that are attracting water and they're retaining water in your skin. You still want to protect the barrier of your skin because that's the thing that's keeping your skin and the things inside your skin away from those environmental aggressors. And so we would design a product very differently for a humid environment compared to a very, very cold environment. And that's why having a portfolio is really important, right? You need to provide solutions that work for an individual in the environment that they're in. You can also layer solutions on top of each other as well to ensure that you are getting those.
That's very interesting. How about for those facing high levels of air pollution? Because I hear anti-pollution skincare is all the rage recently. Can you give us the lowdown on this beauty trend?
Sure. Thankfully, we haven't had a big haze incident in Singapore
Fingers
recently.
crossed.
Luckily, fingers crossed. I have a 7-year-old daughter. She has atopic dermatitis or eczema. Every time there's haze, she has a flare up. She gets red and itchy around her arms and sometimes around her face. So we do need to provide the right kind of solutions that do two things. So the first is address the symptoms. If you have eczema, you're very likely to have a flare up, or it can lead to much more sensitivity and itchiness in those times. And then it's about solutions that provide that anti-inflammatory kind of benefit to the skin, soothe the skin. An ingredient we rely on a lot is ingredients like oat. Colloidal oatmeal does a really great job. It has a lot of properties that will help to soothe inflamed skin. So we do use ingredients like colloidal oatmeal. So the other kinds of ingredients is, when your skin becomes inflamed, it's about using ingredients like Theca. Theca is a plant that you will often see. It's an ingredient that was pioneered actually in France a few years ago, becoming very common as a soothing ingredient to really help inflamed skin and it really calms skin down. Very good if you have really sensitive skin. And then there is other kinds of ingredients that are, yes, about helping with the pollution on the skin itself. First and foremost, you should wash it off. We have done some really interesting studies that show how PM2.5 can attach to your skin. So you need to have really great cleansing as an example to remove it. And if it is staying on your skin, you need to ensure that you're using chelating ingredients. So they're ingredients that can attach themselves to some of the pollution that can stay on your skin so it does not go deeper and cause irritation to skin, so anti-irritating ingredients, things like that. Unfortunately, there's no magic bullet and everyone's skin is different. I would say if you're in a very polluted environment, washing your skin well is really important because that's the best way of removing it. So washing it twice a day is one way of ensuring you're removing that as much as possible. And then after that, moisturizing, building that skin barrier up, ensuring that you have the right ingredients to ensure you're soothing inflamed skin is the other really important thing.
Cleansing is good, but what are the potential risks with over exfoliation?
Yes, you should not over cleanse. So don't use a lot of very heavy cleansing, but using a simple cleanser every day, it doesn't do a harm to your skin. In fact, if I could have one product that I would use all the time. I mean, I'm lucky I get to use a lot of products because of my job.
Can clearly
and I'm always
tell,
trying new things.
Kesh.
Thank you. But if I could only choose one, it would be a cleanser because it is very important. Because you are surrounded by pollution. You are surrounded by dirt. Your skin produces a lot of oil, a lot of sweat. So removing that is very important. You should not over cleanse. You don't have to exfoliate every day. And if you want lighter exfoliation, you don't have to use mechanical exfoliation. There are chemical exfoliation through ingredients like AHAs, so alpha hydroxy acid, PHAs, polyhydroxy acid, and BHAs, so beta hydroxy acid. So hydroxy acids themselves are very good at removing and keeping skin very supple. So a common one that you might know of is salicylic acid. Great if you have acne, but also a really great cleanser. It helps to remove oil. A stronger one, if you really want to cleanse and really want to exfoliate, is glycolic acid. And if you want something in the middle that's a bit gentler on your skin than glycolic acid, polyhydroxy acids, lactates, also very good at helping to remove and still keep your skin without damaging your skin a lot.
I mean, since we are in the topic of chemicals and ingredients in cosmetics, we often see natural or organic on product labels. What do they mean? And do they mean that they're less polluting and therefore better for the environment?
That's something that as an industry we all need to look at. The term greenwashing is becoming very common these days, very prevalent. Many countries, many markets have put in place regulations around greenwashing. India just did it very recently about ensuring that when you have a green, environmental, sustainable claim, that you have the data and the science to back it up. One of our values in Kenvue is around earning trust with science, which means ensuring that when we make a claim against something, we have a lot of data to support it. So yes, just because something is natural does not mean that it might be good for the environment, because that's a very general statement. And we need to look at the life cycle of the product, and the life cycle of the material. Using a natural ingredient that is sourced, in this example, one place in one forest, yes, you might actually be causing a lot of damage. Is that being sourced sustainably? Is it renewable? So just because it's natural things are often considered good, but a lot of poisons are natural. It's all about the dose, right? As a scientist, the dose is what's most important, using it in the right level, and then ensuring that we have really good understanding of the life cycle of the material, especially when it comes to the environment. That's probably where, as an industry, we're moving, is to really understand what we call the life cycle, or a life cycle assessment. That's cradle to grave, everything from where the ingredient is sourced, how you source it, how we use it in our product, and then post that, how does that product get disposed of, and then what happens to it post that. That's the best way of really understanding the impact of ingredients and products for the environment.
For the customers who want to go green, then they should be looking at the label, right?
They should be looking at the label. They should be looking at ingredients that are more natural. And a lot of our customers that we work with as well, they're helping with that. They're asking us as producers to create more sustainable, natural products. I would always go one level further, really look at the ingredients. We, as well as many of our other industry players, really believe in transparency. We have websites that says, this is the ingredient, this is how it's sourced, and this is where it comes from, and this is what it means for you and the benefit that it provides.
Would you have a favorite ingredient?
Favorite ingredient? That's a good question. It's like you're asking me to choose between my children. It's a tough one. An ingredient that I go to regularly, personally use, and would recommend to my friends and my family would definitely be oat, because of the multifactorial benefits that it provides. And it's naturally sourced. It's a natural ingredient. It's a great moisturizer. It is a great skin protectant. Actually, oat is the only ingredient that is a monographed skin protectant by the FDA in North America. It's actually a probiotic. We have something called the microbiome. So that's all of the different microbes that live on our skin. And colloidal oatmeal actually helps to keep that microbiome balanced. So you don't have too many bad bacteria. You are helping to reduce the bad bacteria and grow the good bacteria that really keep the skin healthy. So that's a favorite of mine that I use across many of my products that I use every day.
Okay. And Kash, you also led Skin Health Asia Design Hub, right, to develop Fit for Asia innovations. Any products or practices that are specifically for Asian skin?
Yeah, I think Asian skin has unique needs. All skin is very similar. Structurally, all skin is the same, but we've done a lot of studies that show how Asian skin, for example, ages differently compared to Caucasian skin or African skin. We tend to see signs of aging show up first on Asian skin, differently to, say, Caucasian skin. A big one is wrinkles, is a big one. I know many people that will say, Kesh, you look much younger because I don't have a lot of wrinkles, even though I have a lot of gray. But that's because typically Asian skin, both South Asian and like North Asian skin, wrinkles manifest later and sagging manifests first. So the shape of your face will change earlier than like wrinkles showing up on your face. So when we design products for Asian skin, we are really looking for driving solutions, especially in those younger age groups. Those different skin benefits, starting with more supple skin, making skin firmer. So you are having more of that V shape that we all want. And then the benefits like wrinkles come a little bit later. A really growing trend in our region, really being led out of places like China, is this idea of pre-aging skin. So pre-aging is a huge trend, growing faster than anti-aging. And pre-aging is about prevention, right? It's about the younger generation saying, well, I don't want to get wrinkles, so I'm going to do something today that's going to stop me from getting wrinkles in the future. And so when it comes to us creating solutions for markets in the region, that's what we look for, really delivering against those kind of benefits earlier. Unfortunately, like I said, there's no magic bullet. Unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, but we will all age. We can't prevent that, but maybe we can help to slow it down so those signs don't manifest faster. And when it comes to the environment, it's also about ensuring that some of the environments that we live in might be more polluted. So it's about ensuring we have the right kind of ingredients present as well to ensure that that does not impact the skin too much.
So how do you foresee the demand for certain cosmetics evolving, no thanks to or thanks to climate change?
I do see it changing. The prevalence is coming up in many ways. You are starting to see more of those problem solutions, especially around the growth of categories like sensitive skin. Huge growth in the last few years. Growth of eczema products. So those ingredients, those solutions that are really targeting very much the symptoms of climate change are becoming much more prevalent these days. It's not so much from a solution perspective, but it's how we deliver it. So consumers are looking for better solutions when it comes to the packaging that they use. Things like refillables, things that are much more recyclable, things that are not going to have an impact on plastic waste. We just launched a refillable pod so that you don't have to throw the entire jar away when you're done. You can just pop out the inside and then put in a new pod. And that reduces plastic waste by 89% versus throwing the jar away alone. So there are things like that that may not be the solution, but how we deliver it. So you're using much more post-consumer recycled plastic in our products as an example. Recyclable pumps, those kind of things are what consumers are looking for because they will always want the three things. I call it like the holy trinity, which is safety and efficacy, number one. People want their products to work. They want their product to have a great user experience because skincare is often that little bit of luxury that they can have. And last and not least, these days, it is about being much more eco-conscious and about making the right choices for the environment.
True.
And as an industry, we need to deliver all three. And that's really the key.
We'll have to leave it there for now, but thank you very much for your time. Really enjoyed talking to you, Kesh.
You too.
A big thanks to Kesh and to all our listeners for joining us today. We hope you enjoy the episode. Now remember to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify or Apple to stay up to date on our latest releases. The team behind the podcast is Tiffany Ang, San Nguyen, Joanne Chan, and Crispina Robert. This is Julie Yu signing off.